So as I said, I will just provide a brief overview of what the ERC is and what type of grants we have, some tips for people who apply, and then just the three examples of projects, as we have two more by Anne and Javier later. So, what is the mission of the European Research Council? Is to support high-quality frontier research across all scientific fields. We are dedicated in selecting and funding the excellent ideas that have not happened yet and the scientists that are dreaming them up. And this is achieved through a bottom-up, individual-based, pan-European competition. ERC has now become a benchmark for research funding in Europe. It is part of H 2020 under the pillar of excellent science, and the budget for H 2020 for the ERC was 13 billion euro. And for 2009, the budget is more than 2 billion euros, which is the highest ever since the beginning of the ERC in 2007. So what does the ERC offer to its grantees? Creative freedom, independence, recognition, and visibility. Researchers can apply with any research topic, and if they get funded, they have financial autonomy for 5 years. They can negotiate the best working conditions with the host institutions, and they can also attract top researchers from all over the world as team members or collaborators. Another nice feature about the ERC grants is that they are portable. So if for whatever reason you need to change to another host institution, this is possible. And ERC is a quality label, so you can attract additional funding and gain recognition. Who can apply? Excellent researchers of any nationality, any age, and any current working place in the world. That means you may currently be based in Australia, Japan, in Europe, wherever. You can still apply as long as you do it in conjunction with a host institution based in Europe or associated countries. If you have questions about which countries these are, you can ask me during the discussion. And also, as a parenthesis, as of 2019, for the synergy grants that I will talk about in a second, one of the PIs that collaborate in the project can be based outside Europe, EU, and associated countries as well. And if granted, you need to spend at least 50% of your working time in the EU or associated countries. Now, an overview of our funding schemes. We have 5 grants. The 3 are probably the most well-known ones: starting, consolidator, and advanced. And they concern different stages of career. Starting grants from 2 to 7 years after PhD, consolidator 7 to 12 years after PhD, and advanced grants are for more advanced researchers. And the amount of the grant varies from 1.5, then 2, then 2.5 million, plus additional budget for equipment or relocation. And these are for 5 years. As of 2018, we have relaunched an older type of grant, synergy grants, and these are for projects that are a collaboration between 2 to 4 principal investigators with their teams at any career stage. There can be any combination of researchers, and this can be up to 6 years and up to 10 million. And the main thing that we're looking for in this type of grants is that the project could not have happened without the synergies between these people, whether it has to do with the interdisciplinarity or just different skills coming together to make the project happen. Finally, there is the proof of concept grant. And this is a smaller type of grant, and it's just for ERC grantees. And the aim is to, if you have a project and out of the project you have a nice, innovative idea that can have marketable potential, or can you think, if developed, can have a societal impact or an impact in the industry, then you can apply for a proof of concept grant. And these are just for 1 year and up to 150,000 euros to help you develop the innovative potential of that idea and prepare it either for the market or for whatever other purpose you want to have. So this is the only aspect of the ERC grants that looks towards societal or industrial impact. Now, so how does it work? We have in 2019, the current panel structure is this one. The European Research Council, the evaluation process, but also the monitoring and the administration is divided across 25 panels and across 3 domains. So we have life sciences, physical sciences and engineering, and social science and humanities, where I belong. I'm working with the panels SH5 and SH6, cultures and cultural production, and the study of the human past, where archaeology and history usually find their home. Of course, I just want to point out that this panel structure is not rigid. The panels are to be interpreted in a flexible and inclusive manner with adequate space and arrangement for cross-panel and interdisciplinary proposals. So if you have a project, a proposal that transcends the boundaries of these panels, that's perfectly fine. And there are mechanisms within the evaluation process that allow us to evaluate these proposals using cross-panel reviewers and remote evaluators that have appropriate expertise. The panels are more like a guideline rather than a rigid rule. Now, a few words about the evaluation process. The 3 of the grants, the main 3 grants, Starting, Consolidated, and Advanced, have a 2-step review process. At step 1 is the panel members of the teams of each panel that evaluate the proposals, first remotely and then at the step 1 meeting. They retain some proposals to go to step 2, where for Starting, Consolidator, we also have interviews. And at step 2, the proposals are evaluated also by external evaluators that have the appropriate expertise. An important thing to remember is that at step 1, only the first part, the extended synopsis of the proposal, is seen and evaluated, whereas if you pass to step 2, then the full proposal is available to the reviewers. For synergy grants, this process is a bit different, and if you want, I can tell you more about it in the discussions. It has 3 steps. Now, how are the ERC project proposals evaluated? We have only one evaluation criterion, and that's excellence. Excellence in terms of the research project and excellence in terms of the principal investigator. When I say excellence in terms of the research project, what we are usually referring to is groundbreaking nature of the project, the potential impact, and here we don't mean necessarily societal impact, but rather scientific impact, academic impact in the discipline, and the excellence of the scientific approach. In terms of the principal investigator, the panel members are looking for intellectual capacity, creativity, creative thinking, and the commitment to the project, so that to make it happen, to make the project feasible. Note that the host institution with which you are applying is not an evaluation criterion. Okay, now for some tips. Contrary to what you may think, ERC funds frontier research, including applied research. The budget is distributed among the scientific panels as a function of demand. So that means that the more proposals we receive in one panel, the more budget is allocated to that panel, and then the more proposals will eventually get funding. So bottom line is apply. The panel descriptors do not represent ERC scientific priorities. Each panel has a set of descriptors that characterize it, let's say, but they're not ERC priorities. They're just there to help us kind of organize the evaluation process, and also you can use them to indicate the type of project you have. But you can, of course, have a project outside these descriptors, and it doesn't really have an impact on the evaluation decisions. The success rate is virtually flat across the eligibility window. This concerns the starting and consolidated grants, where there are limitations of who can apply depending on their career stage. So what this means is that if you're a starting grant applicant, whether you are 2 years out of PhD or 7 years out of PhD, so at the end of the eligibility window, our data show that you have the same chance. The success rate is flat across that eligibility window. Publication record is not decisive in selection decisions. And of course, the way that panels view the publications and the bibliometrics differs from discipline to discipline and panel to panel. But generally is not the first thing that one uses to decide about a project. And as I said, the host institution is not an evaluation criterion. Now, particular emphasis is given on multi or interdisciplinary proposals which cross boundaries between different fields of research, or pioneering proposals addressing new and emerging fields of research, or proposals introducing unconventional, innovative approaches and scientific inventions. So you don't have to have an interdisciplinary proposals, but if you have, that's also okay. You can have just a new take on a traditional topic. You can have a new type of technology to apply on a topic, and a conventional scientific approach, and so on. Now, some more practical tips: how to prepare and submit a successful ERC proposal. Step 1, have a bright, original, exciting idea, and then design a project around it to implement it. You also need a letter of support from a host institution where the project is to be carried out. And an important tip is to also consider the balance when writing the proposal between addressing generalists and specialists, and the difference between the first part of the proposal, which is the extended synopsis, and part B2, which is the full proposal. At step 1, as I said, is the panel members that evaluate the proposals, and they're asked to evaluate to act as generalists, which means that because the panel has representation from across disciplines, so they cannot all be experts in all different topics. So they evaluate mainly as journalists, and then at step 2, we have specialist remote reviewers. Submit your proposal before the deadline. And for starting and consolidator grant applicants, a nice tip is to have mock interviews if you pass to step 2 to help you prepare for your interview at step 2. Also, if rejected, keep trying. We have data that show that reapplications have a much higher success rate. And that's part of the fact that there's a benefit in using the feedback you receive from the evaluation reports when you last applied. When preparing your proposal, ask yourself, does my project bring new, innovative aspects? Does it promise to go substantially beyond the state of the art? Don't be afraid to be ambitious, think big. Know your competitors, what is the state of play in your particular area, and why is your idea and approach outstanding and worthy of funding. I repeat again that only the extended synopsis at step 1 is read at step 1. So be concise and clear in your presentation of your proposed project, because the evaluators, as I said, are not all experts in the field at step 1. So it's important to present it in a way that it's clear. Also consider, how can I support my case? Are my goals realistic? Really consider the feasibility of your project. How are you going to make it happen? Also consider the risk. We do encourage high risk, high gain proposals, but even when it's a high risk proposal or a medium risk or whatever, you still have to assess that risk and show how you plan to mitigate the risk. And again, societal impact is not an evaluation criterion. However, that doesn't mean it can't be a part of the project. This is just to say that if you want to get inspired about the kind of projects that can be funded, you can go to our website and browse through the ERC funded projects page and see what kind of projects we already fund. And now for some statistics. So far, we have nearly 9,000 projects funded in all panels across domains. And about 2,000 of them, the number now is a bit higher with the new evaluations that finished. About 2,000 projects in social sciences and humanities with an overall budget close to 3 billion. And of that, we have 306 projects in the study of the human past panel, which is archaeology and history, and projects in or related to archaeology constitute about 1/3 of the funded projects in SH6, which is the panel of archaeology. Now, each year, the panel SH6, Study of the Human Past, receives more than 100 proposals in or related to archaeology, and approximately 15 to 20% of them are funded. Here are some stats regarding the gender and the host countries of archaeology projects currently funded by the ERC, just to have an overview of what's happening. And finally, let me go now to present briefly some or three of the projects that have been funded by the ERC that have some computational components in them. I hope I can tell them right, because I'm not a computational archaeologist myself. So if you have any questions, you can also follow the links and then look them up online and learn more. So the first project is a project called AREA. Actually, we were hoping to have a team member from the project in this session, but she couldn't make it. This is a project called the Archaeology of Agricultural Resilience in Eastern Africa. It started in 2013. It has now been concluded this year. And through fieldwork in Engaruka, Tanzania, and Konso, Ethiopia, and the subsequent data analysis using a range of scientific methods, soil analysis, agent-based modeling, GIS analysis, the project aimed to assess the long-term sustainability of these two East African agricultural systems, and furthermore to present a frank and realistic appraisal of the role archaeological knowledge can play in sustainability debates today. They had one of the postdocs, the one that we were hoping to have here, Tabitha Kabora, was in charge of the agent-based modeling component of the project, and she developed two agent-based models, the S-Trapped and Garuka sediment transport and capture model that simulated simulates the development of the fields, and the sediment capture technique demonstrating that the complex network of irrigated fields at Ngaruka was not necessarily centrally managed. And also, she developed the time machine model, techniques of irrigation management in Ngaruka, modeling agricultural choices in nascent economies, that added farmer households as agents in the simulation of the Ngaruka field system, demonstrating that despite what was previously thought, irrigated agriculture in Ngaruka is potentially highly sustainable, and therefore there might have been other factors, cultural and socio-political, rather than environmental, that led to the abandonment of the site. Apart from agent-based modeling, another sort of computational aspect, but in a more fun way, let's say, was a public outreach output that the project had, which was Irrigate, an irrigation game that they used it was available through smartphones, and they used it for the public outreach activities. Now, the project was based at the University of York with the PI, Dr. Darius Stam. Second project is past pre-Columbian Amazon scale transformations. By examining the influence of pre-Columbian land use and the impact and modern legacy of the 1492 Columbian encounter in 4 different regions of Amazonia, the past project aimed at an appraisal of human impact on the Amazonian forests in the past in order to contribute to the sustainability of these forests today and in the future by providing critical input to policy makers. This last aspect is also what led to a further grant that sprung out of this project, a proof of concept grant, Futures. PI was Jose Antonio Riarte Mujica from Exeter. And with the team within the first project developed an innovative UAV LiDAR technology for its remote sensing work package. And the success and innovative aspects of this new technology was attested by its application in a different socioeconomic context in this proof of concept grants, which resulted from the original project. And in this proof of concept grant, the UAV leader system was used to digitally document and interpret forest structure data to improve the environmental sustainability of the region. Finally, I wanted to also present a synergy grant, just to show you what type of grant a synergy grant is, and that's Nexus 1492, based in several different universities, as I will show in a bit. New World Encounters in a Globalizing World. This project investigated it's been concluded, the impact of colonial encounters in the Caribbean and the intercultural Amerindian European African dynamics at multiple temporal and spatial scales across the historical divide of 1492. It was a truly transnational, intercultural, and transdisciplinary project with 4 PIs originally and 3 host institutions, Leiden, Amsterdam, Constance. And the impressive thing about it is that it has involved 38 scholars and researchers, including postdocs and PhD students from a variety of fields: archaeology, anthropology, bioarchaeology, human genetics, physical geography, computer sciences, biogeochemistry, heritage, and museum studies. One of the components of the project was to have an impact in the region they investigated by developing education manuals for heritage awareness. And the methods they used also vary by microbe and DNA analysis, isotope geochemistry, archaeometry, artifact analysis, and network analysis. And that's about it from me. If you want more information, here are some links. If you want, I can share this presentation with you. And now I will hand the floor to Anne Brisbard of Leiden University and Irene Vikatu from Project Set in Stone.